now chasing a lot of medicals. Not in our town, but it could be in our town if we increase the shift size. And that's an issue, and that's why it went down to the 10 years. The Insurance Service Organization, the ISO. The Insurance Service Organization determines the class of the department and the insurance rating for the town. Right now, the department's rating is a class 4. And what that means is that the town needs 3 first-line pumpers and 1 fully equipped pumper in reserve. So what does the reserve pumper do? Well, if one of the other 3 engines is out of service for any amount of time, it runs in its place, obviously. The reserve pumper responds, when we can staff it, to every work and fire or grader in the town of North Reading. During storms, when we call everybody back, that engine is staffed and it goes out the door. So is it used more than the other trucks? Absolutely not. But when called to action, it needs to work. And right now, I'm concerned about it. What could happen if we drop the pumper? If the town doesn't maintain the number of apparatus, the rating increases, thus increasing the insurance rates for the taxpayers. So with us not having the proper number of trucks in the fire station, we'll come back to raise the insurance rating for the people that live in town.
Chief, do you have any idea, can you quantify that?
No. I looked, I went through the rating in 2007, it was just a questionnaire. I went back to the rating in 2005, it was a questionnaire. In 1995, I believe that's when we got our rating, and it goes through each thing that the ISO looks at, and what they look at is manpower, equipment, and apparatus, water distribution, hydrants, and distribution systems, and they look at fire alarm and the method to receive and transmit alarms. It doesn't break down how much money the insurance rating means, but I can tell you on the reserve status, out of a possible 100, we only scored 60%. I can't equate that anymore. I could try to do some research and get back to you through Greg. I'm not sure
make
exactly.
A presentation like this at the town meeting, or even to us, you might be, okay, so what's that mean to the average homeowner? Does it mean $100? Does it mean?
I can look into that. I don't
necessarily need to have to spend a lot of time on it, but it's a question that may be out there.
The difference between fire fleets and other fleets. A large percentage of the road miles are placed on the vehicle during emergency responses. Repeated cycles of rapid acceleration and deceleration, hard turns and quick stops put extreme demands on the vehicle. Even when driving under control, there's extreme demands on the vehicle. It's imperative that the emergency vehicle be reliable. The vehicle needs to be ready to respond to any incident that it needs to respond to. The fire vehicle, this is a big difference. The fire vehicle is fully loaded at all times with the equipment needed to perform the task. The piece of apparatus is at its maximum load at all times. Water and equipment, it's always on there. So it's always running at its maximum load. Some contributing factors to the deterioration of our vehicles. Increased use of calcium chloride on the roadways has caused some corrosion problems. Can't get by it though, something we have to live with. Some deteriorating road conditions, the Route 62 project, that had some issues with our vehicles, and driving on road conditions like Central Street. And more importantly, an increased call volume. We're busier than we ever have been in the past. So the procurement process. It takes 12...
We have a question, Mr. Messere.
Can you explain why we're busier than we have in the past?
More calls.
Yes, I know.
Calls.
What's contributing to the more calls?
Alarm activations, call for fires, hazardous materials. It's just busier than it has been in the past. I don't really have a reason on why we are busier. There's more medicals. The ambulance is busier than it ever has been in the past. How many runs were we over last year for ambulance calls?
760 transports, 760 transports.
It's just, it's been the...
We've been running too with a couple of shifts off and on with 5. And when we have 5, we use the fire engine to go with the ambulance to the medical call versus the pickup truck.
But that's just been recent.
There was a time a couple of years ago we had.
So...
Can I ask why are you doing
Because
that?
if we came to town, let's say we came to town hall for a medical emergency and we had the pickup truck with 2 guys on it, and then we got a call for a fire, we'd be out of position have to go all the way back to the station and get the fire truck.
When I first started the job, I was on a 5-man group, and we always went with the engine for that particular reason. You would be able to go to a fire call and a medical with one piece of apparatus. That's the most important thing. You can answer both calls with one piece of apparatus.
So how many guys are you sending on a medical call? 4?
3.
3.
If there's 5 if there's a 5-man group, then 4 go. I mean, 3.
That's what I'm
15.
saying. If you get 5, you send in the truck, you send in 4 guys.
Right, but right now, we have one group with 5, but he's in training, so he's not, it really doesn't count. We only have one group with 5. All set? So the maintenance cost on the older vehicles will increase as time goes on, and the ISO rating could be in jeopardy as the fleet continues to age. And that's it. That's really what I have.
Mr. O'Shea?
What's the lead time on procuring a new truck?
12 to 18 months? Is that what you mean, to get it on board and
Yeah,
put
from
it
the
in the
time,
service?
you know,
Time we sign a contract?
yeah.
12 to 18 months,
12 to 18.
depending on, you know,
That
what.
would be time from the appropriation, because we usually form a committee
Right,
of members at the fire station, and we create the specification. Then it goes out to
To
bid,
bid.
and then it takes time to obviously build the truck.
So if we approve this and it passes town meeting in October, you're not looking to get it online until March of 2015 or 14? My math is right, something like that?
12 to 18 months, depending on how fast we can get things going and if we get the approvals.
Anyone else? Oh, Dan?
How many
Finance
calls
committee?
did Pump Before go out on last year? About?
No, I'd have to look that up. I don't have the call, well, engine 4?
Engine.
Yeah, I don't have the dispatch numbers on engine 4. But every time we transmit a box, it's the second piece of apparatus that goes out the door. It does all the mutual aid calls. So if there's a call, this weekend it was in Middleton at a second alarm fire. So it would do all the mutual aid calls, so we're not using our frontline piece for that. And anytime we transmit a box, we send 2 engines, a ladder truck, and an ambulance. If it's a working fire, it's a 3rd engine. If it's a second alarm, engine 2 goes out. So it depends on the severity. So it's not just a simple engine 4 goes out the door. I can look that up if you'd like me to.
I'm just curious how busy it is.
Anyone else? Thank you very much.
Thanks.
Chief, Deputy
Thank
Chief.
you. Thank you. Thank you, gentlemen.
Thanks, Chief.
Thank you.
Next item on the agenda is DPW road improvements. I think I had mentioned earlier, the Public Works Department has an annual road improvement program. The purpose of it is to deal with our secondary, or I call it subdivision roadways. It's supported by our pavement management program, which is, as you know, an objective analysis and numerical rating. It's assigned to roads and road conditions. The intent of the project is to supplement the $491,000 that we have been awarded in Chapter 90 funds for fiscal year 2013, so they're independent of one another. The scope of the work would include paving overlays, rehabilitation, microsurfacing, and related drainage works. The intent of this is not to go out and do drainage projects, but as drainage pipes need to be replaced as part of a road construction project, we would certainly do that. I would turn it over to Dick Carnevale to provide the board with any additional information. Dick has also provided me with a summary listing of roads that he could undertake depending upon the amount of money that he has available. And I'll let Dick address any issues at this point on the road projects.
Hey, what are the restrictions on the Chapter 90 in terms of what those funds are applied to, Dick?
Chapter 90 funds can only be used for accepted public ways and ancillary engineering projects such as the traffic issues we've been discussing cannot be used on private ways. The reason I've been coming for road acceptance this last couple of years is North Reading has, when I started here, 15% of our total roads we maintain were privately owned. So we're paying to maintain them, but we're not getting money from the state. So you've seen the streets come to you for acceptance, try to bump up that.
So you can use the Chapter 90 funds to pave an accepted road, a repavement accepted road.
For example, there are accepted ways that are gravel roads, like half a flash road. That's an accepted way, but it's gravel, we could pave that with those funds. But a road that's not accepted, like Swan Pond Road, one way out the woods, do not use it for that use.
What about sidewalk repair?
You can, but typically it's restricted to when you're doing the road itself.
Okay. So the additional funds are to supplement the Chapter 90 in your road maintenance program?
The point that I mentioned to Greg, I forgot to bring it up, is due to petroleum costs, our asphalt costs by our construction bid have gone up 56% the last 2 years. So when you factor that into this amount, we are every year doing less and less roads due to funding conditions. When I started here, we were doing 8 to 10 roads per year. We're down to 3 to 4 per year. Basically, do that increase in asphalt.
Which roads are on the front line without this additional request? We didn't get that list.
Yeah, we need to check the 90.
Target roads for this amount of money.
Dick, you
No,
might want
the
to,
chapter
you might
90
want to
ones.
sit at the table so that the mic is carrying it to the people at home, but be able to hear you.
Target roads for $200,000 would be Gordon Road.
No.
Chapter
I'm talking the
90.
Chapter 90.
What's your intent for the Chapter 90?
Chapter 90 funds, which roads are?
Currently now, the two that we are programmed to do are Tower Hill and School Hill Road.
So that's to the tune of 491,000?
No, that's about 370 something.
Why are those getting priority over other roads, Tower Hill and School Hill?
Oh, I can tell you, I walked that route, they're a mess.
Let me back up. Dave Hamlin did a comprehensive plan. I've been working off his plan, where he rated every road in town,
Yep.
and I'm working off his list. This list basically expires. We've done about a third of this list since I've been here. So it's an existing list. We prioritize as to need. That's what we go by.
What were those roads again? I'm sorry.
Tower Hill and School Hill Lane.
And
The
then
ones we're proposing
Country
to
Club
do.
is doing, what is that being done from?
Say again?
Country Club,
Country
right now.
Country Club was done on last year's Chapter 90.
Oh, okay.
Right. We're just doing part of that needed it. The back part we didn't feel need to be repaved.
I'm a little confused. You just handed this out.
Yeah, it's in CIP money.
This is what he's requesting additional, at least $200,000. This is what he would use that money on.
Okay, so if it went to 300, he'd be,
Right.
okay, I got
The
it.
Tower Hill and School Hill are what he
Yeah.
intends on using the Chapter 90
Right,
money
okay.
for.
No, I understood that. I was
Okay.
just trying to understand.
Right.
It didn't click here.
Historically, the town has appropriated for town roads.
Mr. Fode, you have-
Well, he can now ask the question.
Go ahead.
Historically, there's been annual appropriation for this. In FY '06, 250, FY '07, nothing. '08 and '09 were 250,000. 2010 was 150. 2011, fiscal year 11 was 200, and last fiscal year was nothing. That complements the Chapter 90 fund.
Mr. Fode?
Just a couple of questions, Dick, if I may. First off, I'm assuming that the roads that you're suggesting here, whether it be the 200 or 300 or Chapter 90, that the subsurface infrastructure is all in good shape.
No. Well, all those roads need total rebuilding.
So we're going to spend $200,000 to resurface the road, and the subsurface is in bad shape and could possibly have a water main break and really,
Most of the roads on that list I'm proposing need full depth reconstruction. The subsurface has failed. So it needs to be rebuilt from the ground up, just like we did up at Country Club.